Hello champions and future champions. Hello Chessmood family. GM Gabuzyan is here with you and we're beginning our daily lesson. Today we're going to continue topic of the previous daily lesson of weakening the squares. But if previously we were using pawns to do this, today we'll see some examples when with our pieces we are provoking pawn weaknesses and then making value out of weakened square. In this position, it's white to move, and there is a very interesting idea existed. You can pause the video and try to find it. Now, white goes knight to g4. We are trying to provoke h5 move and weaken the g5 square. Now you may ask me, why black is obligated to play h5? What is the issue? White has a very unusual but at the same time interesting threat here. White wants now to play bishop to b8. Very funny move, but now we're getting this e5 square for our knight, which will be very unpleasant for black. Knight on e5 will be attacking all the time, pawn on c6 is controlling some important squares and limiting black pieces. For this reason, knight g4 move is a very unpleasant threat and black is playing now h5. We're going back knight to f2 and we're very much satisfied with this outcome, since we managed to weaken the square on g5. And now after queen a5, we're taking our knight to this nice outpost. Knight h3, rook d7 and knight g5. This square is very much similar to e5. What it means, knight here is attacking the pawn on e6 all the time and very much limiting black king. This means our next threat is gonna be rook b8 and we're going to make some annoying pressure through the 8th rank and as well on the weakened black pawns. So with the beginning knight g4 move, we're provoking h5 and getting this nice outpost. Let's now go ahead to see next example in this topic. In this game, it's white to move again, and by white is playing very strong grandmaster from England, Adams Michael. You can pause the video and try to think, what are you going to do here as white? As we know, knights are staying very strong on the outpost. And if we manage to create a good outpost for our knight on f3, it's gonna be bringing big benefits for white. Now we go knight to h4. Very smart move. f5 could be a perfect outpost for this knight, but the pawn on g6 is limiting this ability. For this reason, we are trying to provoke this g5 move and get a 5 square for the knight. Of course, black now is not playing g5 and trying to postpone it as much as possible. For example, if now black goes rook f8, we are going rook to g3. Now the pawn on g6 is under attack, since we are threatening to play knight takes e7 check, exchange the knights, and then capture this pawn. And once now black is playing to g5, we can play knight takes e7 check, rook takes, and knight f5 with a tempo. We're getting this monster outpost for the knight, closing the f file, controlling lot of squares, being located very close to black king, which gives us very nice advantage. After knight h4, if black tries to take on d5, this doesn't make sense. We're still getting our preferred outcome. Pawn takes, queen f6 and queen g4, we're again trying to provoke g5. And now, if black goes rook f7, with the threat after knight takes g6 to take on f2 and take our rook, we can play, after rook f7 move, queen to g3, protecting f2, and our eye is on g6 pawn. Black cannot now go king to h7, since we have rook f3. The rook is hanging on f7, and pawn on g6 is under attack at the same time. Queen is not having good squares to escape and protect both of these squares. This means that after queen g3, black has to play g5, and we're still getting our knight f5 very good setup. For this reason, after knight h4 in the game, black tried to play c6, but again this doesn't make sense. we play here knight e7 check, rook takes e7, and rook g3, g5, and knight goes to f5. And after rook f7, white played rook to d3. What we have again? Monster knight on f5, blocking the rooks on the f-file, attacking some pawns, being placed on the light square, which is terribly annoying for black, since they are having dark squared bishop. Now, white is going to triple up through the d-file and increase the pressure on d6 pawn. Because all of these reasons, white has a big advantage. Another time, we have seen a good provocation and the weakening of required square. Let's go ahead to see our last example in this topic. In this middle game position, it's white to move. You can pause the video and think, what would you play for white in this position? The beginning move is knight b5. And I'm sure you already know what is our provocation. We are trying to provoke black to go d5. Then white gets a huge control over this e5 square. The good news is there is no pawn for black on the f-file, and something like f6 is not possible. Meanwhile, e4 square is not available for black, since once we are moving our queen to somewhere, always we are having f3 move, and e4 is not an outpost. For this reason, with knight b5, white wants to provoke this d5 move. Of course, black is going to do everything to prevent this, and now you will see an interesting battle over this idea. Black goes rook e d8. We are adding a pressure with rook c6 move. Black goes queen to e7, again adding another defender. Now we cannot be taking, as after takes, and capturing back all the pieces, black is getting 2 pieces versus the rook. We are not satisfied with this outcome, and this means after queen e7, we are going to increase the pressure. White plays queen to a3. This time again we have an extra attacker and we want to take. Black goes knight e8, adding another defender. But eventually, when we play knight c4, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 versus 1, 2, 3, and 4 on d6 spot. This means we are overweighting black pieces and eventually forcing black to play d5. After queen takes e7, rook takes, and knight e5, we are getting this monster outpost for our knight, fixing black pawns on the light squares, and in future we will be able to play f3, preventing black from controlling the e4 square. With this nice pressure, white eventually forced black to play d5 and got such a great position. I hope now you understand the importance of weakening required squares and getting outpost for our pieces. Let's go ahead when you will get your test position for this topic. Here it's white to move, and this is your homework. You can share your thoughts and ideas how to weaken some important square here as white in the comments section below. GM Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.